Peace, everybody. This is Zendra Shareef, and you're watching a getUPmag special report. We're all experiencing an unprecedented time of planetary transformation, a global pandemic, social distancing, and an economic upheaval, and we're all feeling the effects. I recently had the honor of speaking with Ras Ben, author, researcher, teacher, astrologer, geological scholar, and indigenous earth elder. We talked about the state of planet Earth, the significance of the year 2020, and staying well in the new 5G environment using an ancient technology, crystals. Here's Ras Ben. So, Ras Ben, could you just introduce yourself to us and, just let us know, your roles?
Well, only title I wear, fully, okay, is humble servant, That's what I say is my role. I serve in many ways, I give thanks. I feel like I have an ear for the ancestors, I can hear them, and I'm obedient, So when they put me on a mission, I'm on it, So that might involve research and putting it into a works, or it might involve healing. It might involve getting some download science, sharing some spiritual technology that help us move through certain times,
Your 2020 reasoning. So you did a 2020 reasoning at One Art.
Yes.
Which was full of just gems and was very on point all the way up to now. Can you take us back a little bit to that reasoning?
Yes.
And just, touch on, the year 2020 as being the Ethiopian New Year 2012.
2012, yes.
And so how that is manifesting now, celestially.
Well, right, that's what we did. So we would do the astrological forecasts with One Art. That had been an ongoing tradition. I would say maybe about 8 years, 7, 8 years. And we'd usually do it around the solstice, bring in the, around that December 21st, bring it in, a little celebration, Kwanzaa, marketplace, but this year I felt like we had to do it early. We had to do it in November because we had to, the way the year was unfolding, looking like it was going to be, it would have been good if we had time to plan for it and, forethought, because we said 2020 is the year of great conjunctions. That's the name of this year. If you want to say, well, what flavor is this year, or what can you expect celestially, 2020 is the year of great conjunctions, where all year long, starting in January, culminating in December, there's going to be these major planetary alignments in Capricorn involving 3 key planets, Saturn, the ruler of time, Jupiter, the ruler of space, and Pluto, the ultimate, the end, the seal, the wrapping it up, so a lot of cycles are sealing up this year, 400 year cycles, 1600 year cycles, whole bunch of major epochs sealing up this year, and I don't think it's coincidental with all of that happening, where when you look at the Ethiopian calendar, Western equivalent would be like the Julian calendar. That is 2012, because when it was 2012 Gregorian, right, we were expecting some end time stuff, right? And it didn't pop. Nothing jumped off. So, it's like, people was on to the next thing, not accounting that, maybe the Gregorian calendar is just off, And if you would look to any ancient calendar that is calibrated to what we consider, what we're familiar with timekeeping, right? It would be that Ethiopian calendar. And so, because basically the Ethiopian calendar is the Enochian calendar. It's the calendar of Enoch, And to be honest, my study of the Enoch calendar, it's after the end of the world. You know how Sun Ra would drop that? It's after the end of the world. Don't you know that yet? Yeah, Enoch said it was going to be 7,000 moons. 7,000 moon years. So 7,364 day cycles. And they more or less start that count from 5,500 BC. Right? So that means that thing probably sealed up around 1,500, 1,600 AD. About time Jamestown, you know what I mean? So that's just very interesting. And Ethiopians, like I don't want to, because there are different eras within the Ethiopian calendar. So like now we're in the era of the martyr, right? So like if you look at, that's why it's 2012 in the Ethiopian calendar, right? We're in year 2012 of the era of the martyrs, But the Ethiopian count of days, that's another thing too, that just like the Olmec Mayan calendar, the Ethiopian calendar has a count of days, where they literally are counting a number of days that had a specific start date and a specific end date. The Ethiopian calendar started way before that date of the Olmec calendar was supposed to start, which I think was like August 13th, 3113 BCE, before this current era, right? Like I said, the Ethiopian calendar, I want to say supposedly started September 11th, 5,500 BCE. Might be August 29th. Because there's even, how there's like an 8 or 9 day difference between the Julian / Gregorian calendar. So maybe Gregorian, it would be August. I always get tricked up with that, but the idea is that was the beginning of Enoch's count of days. And so the Ethiopian calendar would be that calendar where we could see some nexus between the Olmec Mayan calendar, right? And what we would call, what we consider calendars in the West, Yeah. So, this being 2012, in the Ethiopian calendar, it is not surprising you have all of these major celestial alignments happening. That, you know, I guess if you could just put it in one phrase, would be judgment time. Time when we all gotta be held accountable for what we've done through space and time. It all. You know what I mean? Everything we've done, good, bad, ugly, it's all going to kind of get measured out in this cycle, you know, with this Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn alignments in Capricorn, you know?
Okay, so building on that, from January 1st to now, where are we?
Right.
Here we are, April 23rd, but a lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's why I said we need to look at this thing in November.
In November, right.
Because I knew,
preparing.
Because the first major conjunction was in January, like January 8th, January 9th. And it was Saturn and Pluto. And Saturn and Pluto operate on a 33-year frequency. They conjunct every 33 years. And that 33 is a familiar number. Everybody know about the 33. Why? Because there's some people that work the 33. And they identify themselves like the highest of themselves as that 33 master, 33-degree master. But the 33, Saturn and Pluto, it's all about controlling resources. That's what Saturn and Pluto is all about. When them two, because Pluto is about resources. Saturn is, like I say, he rules time. If you rule, time rules space. You know, if you can manage someone's time, you don't have to worry about their space. That's kind of the reality we're in now. You know, it's like, you know, when you say free slaves in Babylon, right? Because Babylon controls our time. So they don't have to physically lock you up, right? And Pluto is all about resources, control, power, use and misuse of that. Ultimately, Pluto is about intention. What is your intention? And those that work with the 33, like that whole thing, work that 33, yeah, their intention is control the resources of the earth. You know, and they consider humanity a human resource. You know, that's why human resources controls your time at work. You know what I mean? You clock your hours and, you know, all of that because you're a human resource. And, yeah, this thing jumping off in Capricorn, we knew it was going to be a global, we said, if you could put it in one word, one phrase, global resource reset. And if you want to look at what we've witnessed from January to, I'll say January to early April, because then another conjunction jumped off. That's thrown something else in the mix. But up until that point, it was a global resource reset. That's what we've been witnessing. That's why, even though they say it's a coroner pandemic, right? Why is there an oil war jumping off between Russia, who's not even an OPEC member or a traditional heavyweight in the oil industry? Why are they in a price war with Saudi Arabia? We got to think about that, because they say that they're rivals in it, but maybe they're working together against the United States to topple the U.S. oil industry, you know? Why? Because it's a global resource reset. It ain't about coroner pandemic. That's the pretext for the global resource reset. And you see it playing out on many levels. Industries toppling, other industries consolidating and grabbing hold of that power, right? Over resources. So that's what jumped off in January. April, we said, and what we said was, yeah, it's going to jump off. And it may appear, you know, it might appear like it might shake you, but you can't get shook. Because April, some big blessing was going to come. Something was going to come in April. Because the next big alignment was Jupiter and Pluto, right? And now that we're, like you say, today's April 23rd, what I think we're witnessing is a celestial jubilee, okay? Whereas jubilees back in the day, Jubilee was a time when all debts were forgiven. It was a festival, right? Like, you know, like Jubilee, celebration. But why was you celebrating? Because it was a time all debts were forgiven. All debts were canceled. It didn't matter whatever, you know? Whoever you owed, whatever you owed. If it was Jubilee year, which usually came on 49-year cycles, right? All debts forgiven. So, you know, Babylon canceled that Jubilee thing long time ago, right? It's like, you know, when has Babylon ever said, all right, you ain't got to pay your mortgage. You're not going to get kicked out your house. No utilities is going to get shut off, right? We're going to give you $1,200 to just stay home and chill. Never happened before. So it's like the omniverse is forcing a jubilee. Babylon gotta have a jubilee to just keep this thing going at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're gonna pause on the debt. If only for a minute, you know? So, but I don't know. I don't know if like Babylon might be thinking it's only for a minute. The omniverse might have other intention because it's Pluto and Jupiter. Pluto is the ultimate. So it might be a thing like, yo, the way this thing unfolds, the reordering of resources not going the way they planned, right? They got their plan and their intention, but then the omniverse is balancing scales. Same time, holding everyone accountable. Same time, you know what I mean? So it may come like, yeah, all debts canceled. All debts canceled. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like in November, it's like, all debts are canceled. Like, I think that would be great. That would be a great outcome. That, you know, just like in January, it really took 3 months. This is like the first time I'm talking, really, from that time in depth because I had to really I didn't really know what I was seeing. You know what I mean? We had to really look and what is this thing? Where is it going? You know? But same way, we don't know the Jupiter-Pluto impact in April. August, September, it's going to be interesting to see where this debt cancellation and right, they're giving us our money. It ain't like it's not our money, right? But the system is having to reverse the flow for a minute. It'll be interesting to see how this thing goes and what they'll be forced to do in attempts to keep the system up, you know? And so the next big thing we got looking is the solstice.
So what is the big thing that's happening during the solstice, and what is your prediction for that?
Well, it's going to be a new moon solar eclipse on the day the sun is at its northernmost zenith. And the conjunction will be an opposite, so that new moon conjunction in Cancer is going to be opposing the Capricorn conjunctions of Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. It's going to be intense. Whatever's happening, it's going to be intense. It's going to be a lot of tension. Oppositions usually bring tension. Yeah, that's about all I could say. Yeah, I don't know, you know. It's just, I guess on one level we could say the events that unfolded at the beginning of the year will be intensifying. I don't know if we could say peaking out, but there will definitely be an intensification of what we're seeing, and probably something new with the new moon thrown into the equation, you know? Yeah, so. And then from there, heading into November, you're gonna have Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn all at their closest component. So it'll be like a triple conjunction. And that's election month. It's gonna be bananas, you know? It's interesting. I was never inspired to watch those Purge movies. It's not my genre, you know? But yeah, I watched some of one. I couldn't watch the whole thing. You know, I probably will get through the whole thing, but I just watch a little, you know. I couldn't fill my mind up with all of that imagery at one time. You know, I watched just enough to like kind of see what they're projecting with this quote unquote purge. Election purge as it relates to elections. You know? I wouldn't be surprised if something like that's jumping off in November. I would not be surprised. You know? Yeah, so. But then December 21st, which, if you remember with the original 2012 thing, it was supposed to culminate December 21st. This December 21st, Saturn and Jupiter hard conjunct, 0 degrees Aquarius. So how ones would say, because again, Saturn and Jupiter rules of space and time. and how ones would say the Olmec calendar was supposed to kind of be sealing up the Piscean age and heralding the Aquarian season and cycle, you know. I will say that conjunction will kick in at least 20 years of strong Aquarian energy, you know. Would it be the actual age of Aquarius? I don't think so. The cusp of Aquarius, for the sun to rise, the equinox sun to rise in Aquarius, we're about 200 years off from that. So we're still in the cusp. You know, as the fifth dimension said, we're in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And that is true. It's still the dawning, you know? So, yeah. But it'll be 20 years. Saturn and Jupiter operate on 20-year cycles. 19 and change, to be specific. It will be a season where there's a lot of strong Aquarian energy, which isn't all good. A lot of people how Fifth Dimension was singing about the age of Aquarius like it's a great thing to look to. And I think there are good aspects with it. It'll probably be better for humanity as a collective than the Piscean age, which is ruled by belief, you know, and illusion, right? But the big issue with Aquarius is societal control, impersonal control, where no one said, Zendra, go get a cell phone. Yeah, it's gonna give you cancer. It's gonna cost $200 a month. We're gonna surveil you and know your every move, but you still gotta get it. No one told you that. Why? Why do you have a cell phone?
The collective. The
impersonal controls of society. That if you didn't have, could you imagine? Girl, I've been trying to get in touch with you. And I'm trying to cash app you some dollars. You know what I mean? You could it's almost like you can't function in society without a cell phone these days. Mugs be mad if I call them back in 3-4 days, like people expect instant response. Why? Because in their mind, when they see you with a cell phone in your hand, and if they call you, you should have that phone right there and answer. And the fact that you don't, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem for a lot of people. You know? And then the way they make business today, it's almost, especially if you're like a self-determined person. And that's the oxymoronic, right? They made it so that the self-determined person really needs a phone to be self-determined, you know? So that is the biggest challenge with this Aquarian cycle. And the whole coroner pandemic could be a part of the progression towards that, with the, introduction of maybe needing proof of a vaccination for you to gain access to entertainment venues, food sources, right? Because here we are back at the 33, those who work the 33. What is ultimately their intention with this global resource reset and human resources, right? That mark of the beast, some would call it the mark of the beast, reality. Who can ignore that that's probably a big part of the agenda with this, And so that is the worst case Aquarian reality. That's Aquarian all the way. That's not a Piscean thing, So that's that. December 21st is going to be a very pivotal time for us. Which way are we going to go with this Aquarian thing? It's going to be one love. On the other side, you got Bob Marley. He epitomizes and embodies the exalted Aquarian. One love, do you, I'm going to do me, you do you. Let's get together and be all right. One love, So, which way are we going to go? That's December 21st. It's going to be a pivot, big pivot day for these next 20 years.
In your 2020 reasoning, you mentioned, quote, "We are responsible for our position in space-time." Can you build on that and just let us know how we can take personal power in this situation where, celestial forces are really running the show?
Yes. Well, it's where these great conjunctions are happening. When we talk about personal responsibility and accountability, right? It's where these great conjunctions are happening that is making it like, I gotta really just take responsibility, not only for myself, but also of my bloodline, and that's because everything's happening in Capricorn, Capricorn rules the accountable, that's where we have to account for ourselves, answer to the higher authority, and what you're going to do, you're going to lie and avoid taking responsibility and then catch the double punishment of, lying, right? Not taking responsibility, blaming someone else, pointing the finger or whatever. So now the one in charge gotta get you for that, as well as what you're responsible for, right? That's where we're at celestially. That's Capricorn. That's where we're at in this time. It's like, our own higher authority. That's who ultimately we're accountable for. Our own higher authority, our own higher self, because we all have a direct and personal relationship with the Creator, whether we acknowledge it and actively access it or not, right? So this is a time where we all are going to have to, this condition, position, place I'm at in space-time, the resources that I have, the resources I feel I don't have, the quote-unquote abuse and victimization I experienced versus, when I was a shot caller and in charge and able to make decisions and act freely, I did ABC 1, 2, 3, right? It's a time we gotta accept all of that. You know, the victim, villain paradigm doesn't work in Capricorn. You know, and well, then that brings up, well, what about the apparent injustices? And no keyword is apparent. If we are experiencing apparent injustices, a good idea may be to research your family and tribe/nations history. Because another thing about taking responsibility for your place in space-time is that you have to recognize cause and effect, the laws of Ma'at. The laws of Ma'at always, they don't never not apply. That's why we say apparent injustice. Because Ma'at always rules. So if you're experiencing injustice, more than likely, either you in a past incarnation or someone from your bloodline did that same injustice. And the scales is now being balanced out in this Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Capricorn season. And it will work to our advantage to take responsibility for it, right? And move with that atonement, you know? As opposed to staying in victim mode, pointing fingers at other villains, you know? So like, for we, indigenous in Babylon of America, we really do have to take responsibility for the Jamestown timeline, the 400-year timeline that's sealed up 2019. We're in the first year of a new 400-year cycle. But we can really, if we overstand certain actions of our nations, which was, you know, our ancient bloodlines were a part of, this whole dispensation makes total sense. And I know to some it's like, what? Because that's not the normal history we've been informed on. We still on roots. Kuta Kinte, no, Toby, you know, we still on that. We're not studying the Corsairs, the pirates of the Barbary Coast, and how they waged 400 years of tyranny on Eastern Europe. You know? Same thing, raiding, like how West Africa was raided from the coast, right? They set up an economy of different ones that would go in, grab up ones, take them to the coast and then ship them off. We was doing that thing on the Barbary Coast for 400 years, you know? St. Maurice and what they would call the Moorish legacy of ancient Rome. How everybody want to fire burn Rome now. Okay? Who destroyed Rome? Classical Rome. It was the Eastern European Goths who destroyed classical Rome, who resurrected Rome in 800 AD. It was the Coptic Moors under the patron saint of St. Maurice, the Moors. So you resurrect Rome, but now you mad because Rome got their foot on you, on your neck. So we got to take responsibility for those things and others. That's just two right off the top. You know, that's just two right off the top that we, you know, if we want to like, you know, I didn't do nothing. I'm not responsible for this. This is unjust. Okay. Ma'at is real. And the quicker you accept that, research, find the role that either you in prior incarnations or someone in your bloodline that you chose in this time to come and balance out their karma for the betterment of your whole bloodline. The quicker you accept that, it'll be better for you. Your life will work out better. You get more ashe, more abundance, more blessing, atonement, redemption. That'll be what you will experience, you know? So that's the season. That's the season, you know?
So more than just a resource reset, it's a complete reset.
Total.
A total reset.
Total reset. With
We're
Pluto.
at zero.
Yeah. Where everyone's returning to the 0 point reference. Which is a great thing. What's that? That's the Most High. That's the Most High frequency. The 0 point reference. Yeah.
So let's talk about your book, 5G Wellness 101.
Yes. Well, give thanks, obedience, right? Ancestors put it on me in, 2018, 2019, one of them years. It was like, it was 2019. We need, the community needs a simple explanation about what is 5G and how can they protect themselves, you know? Because at this time, you say, about 5G, and they be like, nah, what you talking about? And they say 5G, like the next generation of self. Oh, yeah. Nah, I got 4G. Or like, like whatever. People weren't really thinking about it. Now they're thinking about it, And give thanks, this thing's already out here, Yeah, so if you're familiar with Rasa Ages, right? And like, let's say you well versed in Rasa Ages, you might, you might be like, yo, what's up with this? Cause it really wasn't written for you. It was written for your Aunt Julie, who, like, you still wearing no rocks around your neck, girl? Right? Who, she don't know about 5G. She don't know about melanin. She don't know about the electromagnetic spectrum and the biocrystalline nature of the human body, She don't know about all that, but she needs to be protected. She got to be aware of what's happening, and she got to be protected. That's who 5G Wellness 101 is written for, because it's a 101. It's like a beginner's, And the idea is the whole reason why there's even debate about is it potentially harmful, is it not? It's because we don't know the specs of the human body as a bio-energy system, We don't know our specs. We don't know what's our polarity. We don't know what's our hertz, right? The average person can't say those things. And so, because of that, we can't say what impact external radiations may have on us. So that's what we attempt to do, is explain as simply as possible that, hey, yeah, you see Ras Ben, right? But there's a lot more to me. The real Ras Ben you don't even see. I'm around me. I'm energy. And this is just a crystalline system that I can make moves with in this realm. But my energy got a certain polarity. My energy got a certain hertz. And if I encounter energy of an opposing polarity and of a discordant hertz, yeah, that might jam up my energy, you know? So that, that's what we did with 5G Wellness 101. So basically, our aura, right? Its polarity is magnetic, just like the Earth's. The Earth got a magnetic aura. They call it the magnetosphere. In the magnetosphere, the Earth is always in like what we call a 5G environment. The sun, the radiation from the sun is, it's got gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet light, all type of radiation that would cancel life in the atmosphere and the biosphere immediately if it was to come in contact, but it doesn't. Why? Because the Earth has a magnetosphere, a magnetic aura that blocks the harmful radiation. Human body is the same way. We call it our magnetosphere, we call our aura, And it is our life force, To the degree that we're healthy, our aura, our magnetic field is going to be magnetized and strong and extending out from the body, right? So if we get hit with some 5G or some Wi-Fi, if our magnetosphere is strong, it's not even going to bother us, But when we devitalized, or if we're exposed to that thing for a very long time, yeah, it can harm us. How do we know that? Because energy, natural, simple physics, energy of opposing polarities, when they meet, they cancel. My aura is magnetic. Those Wi-Fi signals and all those radio frequencies, they're electrified fields. And so, yeah, when that electricity hits my magnetism, it's going to cancel my life force. It's going to devitalize me. Depending on my exposure, it might be localized, like just the cells around my ear because I've been on the phone 20 minutes. Or it can be my whole body because the Wi-Fi router is set up behind where my office chair is. So I'm constantly being bombarded with those electrified fields, Our cohesive hertz is basically 8 hertz. It's a whole bunch of different frequencies going on within us because we're a system, got a whole bunch of frequencies. But the cohesive frequency that holds everything together, and if we got that frequency happening in us, we're going to feel well, we're going to feel good. 8 hertz, 7.8 to 8 hertz. Okay? Those are human specs, basic human specs we should know. And if we know that, then we can use crystals to help keep our magnetic polarity and help keep our cohesive frequency. We can also use crystals to shield unwanted radiation. When you look up energy, like, oh, that's bull crap, Ras Ben. Okay, well, look up energy shielding. Look up what NASA, the science that they use to shield the spacecraft when it goes up into outer space. Or look at the science that the Atomic Regulatory Agency recommends that a person shield himself when they're working with atomic radiation, okay? They'll tell you any material can be an energy shield, okay? Any material. What makes material optimal is its stopping power, okay? And weight per size, you know? They also say like, some like, cause like when in talking about the use of lead as a shield, right? That, right, it's impractical to wear a big ass lead suit. But you can create what they call PPEs. We've been hearing about these PPEs in the media lately. That can be an accessory that can that can provide localized shielding. So what are we doing? What is this? This is a PPE that provides localized shielding. You know? Personal protective, what is it? Equipment. Yeah. Shungite, magnetized hematite, coiled with malachite. And we're going to show you, I got an EMF meter. So it's one thing that, yeah. We're going to show you the stopping power of crystals. That this little thing got a lot of stopping power, you know, to block unwanted radio frequencies. So when you're wearing it, you know, yeah, it look good, but, you know, it's a PPE. Something and I've been experimenting with a lot of stuff. Shells, how our ancestors used to wear a lot of shells. Shells block unwanted radiation. You know, I also seen certain foods block it, certain foods augment it. We got time, we're going to test not just the crystals. I'll show y'all. But I do recommend everyone get a EMF meter that measures specifically radio frequencies. Don't download an app on your phone and think you measuring EMF pollution in your house. All you doing is measuring magnetic flux, change in magnetic fields. It's not telling you what polarity those magnetic fields are, what hertz they are, what bandwidth are, you know. So get a EMF pollution meter. Very important. You know, and then, yeah, some of those energy shielding crystals, the lead family, right? But, you know, lead, beyond being really heavy, is potentially toxic. Many lead stones are soft. So to wear them might, be problematic. So the one wearable lead stone is Amazonite. Most of the other lead stones we're going to use in our environment to create, shielded space. Most people probably want a hot spot or two in their house. You know what I mean? But just like that, you're going to want some cold spots. Okay. Other family is what them call the carbon silicates or the feldspars, you know. That's labradorite, also known as spectrolite, pneumite, my personal favorite, and what seems to according to the meter, has the strongest blocking, stopping power that, from what I can observe. Moonstone, Amazonite is a feldspar. It's a feldspar with lead, a carbon silicate with lead. I think that might be it, with that family. But I've been experimenting and seeing a lot of stones have good stopping power. And I'm actually working on 5G Wellness 404. So I put out the 101. Before, once they say, okay, you can get out your house now. Yeah, I hope to come out with the 404. Which, okay, if you did read Rocks of Ages and you want to know what's up with 5G, this one's for you. It's Rocks of Ages 2.0. It's going to be the alchemical keys to self-mastery in this time. That's the approach we're taking, alchemical keys, so that we know ourselves alchemically. We know what every element is doing in us. Well, I can't say every element. I'm looking at 36 key elements. All of the essential and trace elements of the body, and then other inorganic elements that are relevant in our life for one reason or another, like aluminum. Aluminum, you can make great shielding with aluminum. Get a pouch, little pouch like this. This is my tool pouch, but this is a good example. Pouch like this, line it with aluminum foil. And then when you are traveling, you put your phone in that, and it will help cut down the EMFs a lot. So we're going to look at 36 key elements that we can use alchemically. Little life hacks, little life science hacks, the thrive in this thing, because ultimately this is just going to make us be on our magi, master self to feel good. If we want to feel good, if we want to be happy, smile, thankful, right? Healthy and well, not experiencing acute respiratory distress syndrome, not experiencing irritated skin, not experiencing heat fluctuations. And all these things are associated with the corona pandemic, but they're also associated with EMF radio frequency exposure of high intensity and of a certain bandwidth, all that are associated with 5G. So everyone is 5G responsible for the corona pandemic? No. Radiation cannot create a virus in the body that I am aware of. Can EMF radio frequency exposure compromise immune response? Yes, it can. Can it make body temperature fluctuations? Yes, it can. Can it cause the respiratory distress syndrome? And a syndrome means you're experiencing symptoms, but it's not a disease. Be clear on that. When you're experiencing a syndrome, like an acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or in this instance, acute respiratory distress syndrome, it's not an actual disease, but you're experiencing symptoms that mimic a disease. That's what a syndrome is. They say the 60 gigahertz frequency range of the EMS spectrum is where the frequency range that cells uptake oxygen. And it's my understanding the acute respiratory distress syndrome appears to be altitude sickness. It's not the traditional drowning in your mucus pneumonia or flu where the antibodies in your body are creating so much mucus and attempts to capture the virus that you just drown in your own mucus. That these people are oxygen deprived. You know? Yeah, so I think we can't ignore. 2020 is both and. 2020 is not either or. So is it either 5G or the coroner, pandemic? It's, let me pay attention to 5G and the coroner pandemic. Because I'm sure there probably is some biological something released to challenge the immune systems of humanity. You know what I mean? But, right, we gotta take and the thing we're working with crystals, we gotta work with the plant and mineral kingdom. It's gotta be within and without. You can wear all the magnets in the world. If you're anemic, your magnetic aura ain't doing nothing. It ain't doing nothing. You're gonna have your little magnets on, but you ain't doing nothing. Okay? So you gotta fortify within and without. And that's where the importance of the plant kingdom and the mushrooms. It's gotta be within and without. So you fortify within. You got your hemoglobin, iron rich, then the hematite can do its thing. It can, you're giving us something to work with. Don't be anemic, magnesium deficient, calcium deficient, no phosphorus in your body, no sulfur, no zinc, and think you're gonna stand up against this thing. And so we need to know what all them elements do in our body. Iron magnetizes the blood. Magnesium magnetizes the nervous system. Sulfur. Sulfur is the cell's self-cleaning oven mechanism. Like when you want to clean your oven, it close off, heat up, mad crazy, and then you just gotta wipe the dust off. It ain't no hard scrubbing and cleaning. Sulfur does that for your cells. Zinc, keeping our DNA integrity. Any mutagenic issues from your wounds not healing fast to cancer, zinc deficiency. If your DNA ain't processing correctly. And so we gotta know within and without. That's what the 5G Wellness 404, that's, and then what that means for us in this time. And I feel like we're gonna be thankful for these challenges. Babylon's gonna be like, damn, we gave it a good shot, but I'm gonna come up short, because we're always getting inspiration and downloads from the ancestors. There's never gonna be a time where the seen can beat the unseen. It's just, it's just not gonna happen, So, yeah, that's what it is, Yes, I. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, shine your light. 2020. Give thanks. Get up, Philly Mag.
Yes.
Keep doing your works.
Thank you.
Because Philly is the, yo.
Yeah, mention your other books that we haven't,
Well, we got The Great Mystery Philadelphia and The Free Your Mind and Your Mind Will Follow. Okay. I just wanted to mention, though, that another thing I'm witnessing is Philly is becoming the forefront of where the solutions are coming from. I'm witnessing that. Okay, we got Black and Nobel, them the Don Man of CMOS right now. El Chapo of the CMOS, the running weight of the CMOS. We got the mineral nation, 2 Pisces too. Hawks a Pisces, I'm a Pisces. Dr. Paul Hopkins, another Pisces working in Philly with the herbal and nutritional remedies. And there's more ones. So Philly, Get Up Mag, big up, y'all bringing the information. So we just keep these works happening,
Give thanks.
Yes, I.